Hello, Star Citizens. This is Captain Zed with ZXS Gaming, and welcome to my review of the Aurora SE Mark I. So first of all, these are my opinions, and your opinions may be different, and that's a good thing. Secondly, all ship reviews are biased in some way, and I don't really have any bias, I don't believe, for or against the ship, but I probably have some bias when it comes to talking about the current situation with how the CIG is selling the ship, which I really don't like. And I'll get into that in a minute. But first, we need to have a little bit of history lesson here. What is an Aurora Mark I SE? Well, first of all, the Aurora series of ships is being retired. So all of the original Auroras now carry the Mark I name. There were originally 5 different versions of the Aurora. There's the ES, the MR, the LX, the LN, and the CL. Now, most other ship series, like, let's say, the Cutlass series. You have the Cutlass Black, the Cutlass Red, the Cutlass Blue, the Cutlass Steel, and those ships, while they share the same chassis, they have very different uses, and they have very, different internals in them of, the Cutlass Black is just basically a cargo ship, as where, the Cutlass Red is a medical ship with medical beds in it. In the case of the Aurora series, these were some of the first ships that CIG ever designed. And these ships are not all that different from one another. The base model pretty much was actually the Aurora MR. And I say that's the base model because that ship is what they tied to the game package. They had, the ship itself was $30, and then it got bumped up with the game package to $45. 40 or 45, I think. And then they released a cheaper version called the ES, which was a $20 ship. That ship basically had all of the same stuff from a, as far as missile hardpoints and gun hardpoints, but the components that it came with were of a lower grade. So if you wanted to buy it and level it up, you could. But I think that was what they were trying to use as the reason for it being cheaper. The only other thing all of the different versions share or had that was really, really unique was they each had their own unique paint job. But you had the ES came in at $20. The MR came in at $30. For that, it kind of had standard components. It had 4 size 1 gun emplacements, but only came with 2 guns. So 2 of them were empty, and it carried 2 size 1 missiles. You have the LX, which was $35, and basically that had a different paint job, a leather seat. It was still missing 2 guns, so it only came with 2 guns, but they upped the missile size. They went from 2 size 1 missiles to 2 size 2 missiles. You had the LN, which was the combat version. That actually came with all 4 guns on the ship. It came with military-grade components, and then 4 size 2 missiles, so it had a bigger missile launcher. And then you had the $45 version, which was the cargo. And what they did with that one was they took away 2 of the guns from giving you the guns with the ship. You still had the hard points, so you still had 4 hard points, but they only had 2 guns with the ship. The missiles were back to the 2 size 1 missiles, but then they extended the cargo carrier underneath the ship to carry 6 SCU instead of 3 SCU, which is what all of the other ships had. So this is the SE. This is a new ship. And basically what they did is they took every version of the Aurora and gathered together all of the best stuff. So this ship came with 4 guns. It doesn't have military grade components, but it's got decent components. It's got 4 size 2 missiles, and it's got the larger cargo. It's got 6 SCU of cargo. Oh no, it does have military grade components. Yeah. So that was like they took all of the ships and mashed them into one. Said, "This is the one Aurora to rule them all." In the process, they invalidated all of their other ships, but you know, CIG likes to do things like this. So anyway, now the point about this ship is being retired. The entire Aurora series, this ship with it. So they are going to have these ships available for a period of time. And I'll read you what they said. This is word for word from their Q&A. This promotion starts a sunset window from the Aurora Mark I from both the pledge store, which includes any unretrieved standalone ships, upgrades, or CCUs that specifically involve the Aurora Mark I in your account's buyback queues, as well as in-game shops. This window begins on March 25th, 2026, and is scheduled to end on September 30th, 2026. At that point, or it says after September, the Aurora Mark I will still be supported in the gameplay, including repairs, refueling, maintenance, and components, but the chassis will no longer be obtainable from standard in-game vendors. Now, they really covered their bases here. They've said they're removing it from the pledge store, they're removing it from in-game stores, and they're going to remove any upgrade or buyback that you have in your account as well. Now, they don't say what they're going to, like, if you have a buyback, I'm assuming they're just going to refund the money. Now, this is different than their process of they attempted to, I say attempted, they attempted to retire the Hornet Mark I, but they didn't come out with those specifics, and the Hornet Mark I also has not seen a gold pass. So there's still work really to be done on that ship before you can call that ship good. There's also some open design questions about the interchangeability of the like the stealth cap. Like if you carry the stealth cap from one ship to another, do you carry stealth with it or not? And they basically said, we'll get back to you. We haven't heard anything more on the Hornet, and while it's been removed from the pledge store, I'm pretty sure you can still buy them in game. At least that's what the one website says. So, although I haven't honestly checked it myself personally recently, I know that at the end of 2025 you still could. So anyway, my whole point with all this, I'm not a fan of this kind of stuff. This I call it, marketing, BS, is make a good product and let me buy the product and I'll buy the product. You don't have to, make it artificially, super limited sales, limited time only. You can only buy it now and never again. It's, just make something I want and I'll support your company. But I think that when they do this kind of thing, it's underhanded. But anyway, enough of that. Back to the ship. So this is an Aurora. It's an Aurora Mark I. Like I said, they basically took all the good parts. The ship now has its gold pass, so they've done everything to the ship that they're going to do. They will upgrade, update it as future updates come along with. We may get updates to life support and other stuff. So do a little walk around. First of all, start off underneath the ship. I've got some boxes here so you can see the rail. This is the cargo rail, so it does fit 3 2 SCU boxes. You've got some component access down here. You have component access. If you look up along the sides, you can see I've got some components sitting out there, right there. And in the back here, that's the shield generator. And there also are components up on top of the ship. Now it's kind of funny because you're probably thinking, great, how do you get up there? Well, you don't. You can really only service these components from in space, or if you've got some other method of getting up in the air where you can get up on top of the ship. Now they took care of that problem with the Mark II series because you can climb up on top of the Mark II. I don't believe there's actually any way to climb up on top of this ship. So they've got in door buttons now, and they added gun racks to the front. So you've got a gun rack for a rifle on one side. You've got a gun rack on the other side that takes a pistol and takes a pyro multi-tool. Probably also takes a med gun. But otherwise, this is an Aurora. So you've got your 4-size-1 guns. I've got attritions on here. You've got your missiles up on top of the ship. And the interior is pretty much the same as it was before. There's no components in here in the interior because there's no space for them. But you've got your 2 doors, you've got your bed, which they did kind of clean up the... show you the animation for this. It's a little better than it used to be. Still relatively claustrophobic, but it works. So this is to get out. And then they did add storage into the ship. It is right underneath the bed here. And it is 900k SCU, which is enough for, 3-4 armor sets probably, and some guns and some other stuff. So, plenty of room for, good little, for a little ship. And then you've got your cockpit, which they changed the MFDs from the old design. You've now got 2 large MFDs in front of you, and then you've got your casted MFDs up in the top. You still got all your struts. The view actually from this cockpit isn't bad. It's just how much do the struts get to you? They do have some activatable buttons here, and you can see they've got places for more, so they can come back and do little tweaks to this ship to get the rest of these things in here. But otherwise, it's an Aurora. So that's enough for the tour. We're going to do what we normally do. We're going to take it out and run it through its paces and see what it can do. But you probably should expect it to work like all of the other Auroras do. We'll do a little combat, do a bunker run, and try some delivery missions now that I think they're back in game and working. And maybe we'll even see if we can do a little cargo run with it. So, all right, I will see you in the next area. Hello, and welcome to the combat test portion of the Aurora SE review. So first of all, let's talk stats. The Aurora has 4 size 1 guns. I'm running attritions on her. She's got 4 size 2 missiles. 2 size 1 shields, size 1 power plant, 2 size 1 coolers, a size 1 quantum drive. Her pitch, yaw, and roll is 65, 59, 146. The pitch and yaw puts her similar to something like a Gladius. So she's got that. The roll is just not there. The roll is significantly lower than what a fighter would be. SEM speed of 225, maximum boost at 450. She has 5,950 hit points, which is not a lot, but for comparison, a Gladius only has 6,100 hit points. So she does have enough firepower to fight. She's got enough weaponry to fight. She's got enough shields. She's got enough maneuverability. So we're going to take her in for a little bit of quick combat here. I've got a VLRT hooked up. Now, do remember, I enjoy flying in Star Citizen, but I'm just not always very good at it. So a better pilot could get a lot more out of this ship than what I will. But for what is, essentially a starter ship, one of the first ships you would fly if you were starting into Star Citizen, I think the Aurora is fairly capable when it comes to combat. And having 4 size 1 hard points is pretty good. It's going to give it enough firepower that you can actually, get the shields down on something and do some damage to it. As where there are other ships that just... Okay, we have a target. Don't have enough. And we don't know what the target is yet. We know she's down there. Okay, I've been radared, and that is a 85X, I believe. Okay, we're going to have to watch the ground here. This thing is awful close to the ground. And it might be bugged. Yeah. It flew into the ground.
We'll mark one less shithead on the run. You're doing business with you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was business, all right. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, we have reached our second target out here at Uterp. We're going to try to do this again. We got a LRT this time. And we have yellow text on a white background. Okay, he's 20... Alright, 23 away. Alright. There we go. What are you? Okay, that is a Mustang. That is not our target, is it? We will be more than happy to take him out. There's our target. Okay. Let's see what this guy's doing. He seems awful close to the ground. I think that's a beta. Well, I got him red. Okay, what's this? That's a Talon. Nice. All right. So,
Got confirmation that bounty's been cleared. I'll get you paid.
Aurora SE. Can it fight? Absolutely can. Is it a Gladius? No. Is it as good as, another fighter? No. But it's very capable. It's, like I said earlier, it's got enough maneuverability. It's got enough firepower. It's got enough shields to survive. And remember, this is essentially one of the cheapest ships in the game. You can still get the job done. So, and with that, we are on to the next part of the review. Hello, welcome to the salvage portion of the Aurora SE Mark I review. So, you've just shot down a ship. What can you do with the Aurora SE? Well, first of all, you've got a little bit of interior space, but not a lot. But as you can see, I've got a shield generator component down here. So you can put a couple little things here before you start running into the pilot seat. But the fun part is the cargo grid on the Aurora SE. They actually have got grids set up for components and guns. So we've got 2 guns here you can see. Snap. We've got a missile. Snaps. We've got a shield generator. Snaps. So you can snap all kinds of things, and with the fact that this is a pretty good size now, with it being 6 SCU, this ship actually can do quite a bit of business if you're out in the verse and want to do some scavenging. So with that, let's head on to the next part of the review. Welcome to the bunker running portion of the Aurora Mark I SE review. So, what can this little ship do for running bunkers? Well, enemy bunkers that have turrets where you need to have a vehicle, she can't carry a vehicle. But friendly bunkers, she does pretty good. Relatively small ship. You can, as you can see, park her right by the door. It can fit pretty much any little space you get. As far as looting options, so she does have, let me turn that off. She's got internal storage. of... there it is. 900K. So I put a couple of guns and an armor suit in here, and I've taken up, just about 20% of it. So you can get a couple armor suits worth in here. There is enough room in this to actually put a body or two, if you're gonna, just dump some bodies in and then like get out of trespassing area at the end of a run. And then you've got the cargo rail. So first of all, you can obviously put a 1 or 2 SCU store box on here and either dump stuff in here or take the box with you downstairs and do some serious looting. Or you've got also the cargo rail itself does snap. So you see we've got an armor piece, a helmet, and a couple of guns. If I pick up this one, you can see that, yep, it's got a snap. So you got plenty of opportunities for looting and getting away with some good stuff. Let me see if I can get one more on here. Is there... Oh, it double stacks the armor. Now that I didn't know. You learn something new every day in this game. Okay. There are the looting options for the Aurora SE Mark 1. See you in the next part of the review. Hello, and welcome to the cargo portion of the Aurora SE Mark 1 review. Can the Aurora do hauling runs? The answer to that is yes, but there are only very few runs which are 6 SCU or less. So right now I have a run to take 6 SCU of quartz from Seraphim Station down to Orson. And you see we got it loaded up, and we will see you on the other side of this trip. All right, here we are in Orson. So we've got an easy to fly ship that's small, easy to park near the loading pads. Works pretty well with 1 and 2 size 1 and 2 SCU boxes. The rail works really well. It's not difficult to get the box underneath of it or anything. Really the only downside here is the hauling contracts themselves. There just are not enough 6 or less SCU hauling contracts to really make this something that you would want to say, I'm going to do this. If you want to do hauling, you pretty much have to move up to something, probably at least a Nomad, in order to have enough carry space. Even I would say 20 SCU or more, just so that you can do all of the different small contracts, because a lot of the small contracts are 10, 12, 14 SCU worth of boxes, and then a lot of the small contracts are still using 4 SCU boxes for your max size, which a lot of the small starter ships can't handle those either. So I think when it really comes to hauling, if you're looking at any of the starter ships, you're probably going to pass up hauling until you get to something larger. But otherwise, if you really hunt and peck, you can find enough missions to do a mission here or there. All right. That being done, I will see you in the next part of the review. Hello, and welcome to the delivery box portion of the Aurora SE review. So, Star Citizen being Star Citizen, delivery missions are currently not working as of this recording. They come and they go, it seems. But anyway, if they ever are working, what can the Aurora SE do? Well, first of all, most of the time when you're doing delivery missions, you're using these little 1/8 SCU boxes. You can actually put a couple in the cockpit without completely going crazy. But, you know, they will bounce around on you a little bit. But what I found today was they snap to the cargo grid. So you can put all kinds of delivery boxes on this thing. I wonder if they stack. They do stack. There we go. This means that, you know, the Aurora, relatively easy to fly, relatively small, easy to get into, you know, tight places, park it wherever you want. Eventually, when they do get delivery missions up and running and get some depth to them, this actually will be a relatively good ship for doing that activity. So, with that, we will go to the final wrap-up. I'll see you there. All right, welcome to the wrap-up of the review. My review of the Aurora SE Mark I. We have taken the ship through all of its different things you can do with it, from combat to cargo to running bunkers, and I think what we're gonna see here, the ship itself is not a bad ship. For the size of the ship, you're actually getting a very capable ship. You can do a lot with it. However, there's some big problems. Therefore, my rating on this ship out of 5 is a 2.0. And you're saying to yourself, wow, that's brutal. Especially, it's very brutal in comparison to about a year ago, I reviewed the Aurora MR and actually gave it a 3.5. However, we've got some new things happening here. So first of all, I don't think the Aurora SE is a bad ship. The rating really doesn't reflect that. The problems with the ship is, first of all, the Aurora SE is a compilation of some of the best parts of the other Aurora series. Unfortunately, when they put this whole thing together, they then upped the price again. So if you're looking at an Aurora MR, you know, you're looking at a $35 ship, you know, and as you go up through the Aurora chain, each ship gets more and more expensive. This is a $60 ship, non-warbond. The Aurora Mark II, so the ship that they're going to sell to replace this ship, is a $45 ship, non-warbond. So this is a $60 ship? Are you kidding me? The price is absolutely redonkulous. The other major problem, and for that price, you're not getting much more than you were getting with the other Auroras. I mean, if you look at the overall Aurora series, as we covered in the beginning, you're talking about changes in, you know, just how many missiles and, you know, a little bit longer cargo grid. That's it. You're not getting a ship that is much more capable than what you were paying $30 or even $20 for with the most inexpensive one. But then the problem is, when you get the price up that far, you're now more expensive than an Aurora Mark II, and you're the same price as a Titan, an Avenger Titan. And I'm sorry, but an Avenger Titan if you're looking at combat, if you're looking at cargo, if you're looking at amenities, it crushes a ship like this. So you're not buying this ship because it makes sense to buy. You go, okay, what's good about it? Why would I buy it? You're buying the ship for nostalgia. You're buying the ship because right now, as of this recording, there's a war bond option, so you can get an Aurora with, LTI on it. It's the best Aurora. It's the Aurora that's got everything. So it's not like you kind of, need one, or need to have another one to, to have all of the amenities that Aurora can give. But, this is something that you're putting in your fleet for those nostalgia reasons, for the looks, for the, just the cool factor, not because it makes sense. And the other thing is, CIG has said this ship's going away. And I'm sorry, but we have a lot of ships in game, and every time that they do, they add some features, they do continually have to go back and update these ships. And they also have to, update these ships. Bugs creep into the game. You get strange bugs in every patch. You'll have a ship that's working fine, and all of a sudden, the interior, doesn't, the atmosphere doesn't exist or something. And when you look at it in that light, if this ship is not pledgeable and it's not going to be purchasable, and CIG has got a list of things to fix or a list of things to update, where is this going to be on the list? Dead last. So in the future, would I rather own a ship that is in current production that you can pledge for, that is, that is earning CIG money? Or would I rather own something that is not being sold anywhere, that you can't get a hold of? Yes, it's got that cool nostalgia factor, but, it may have a bug and just never get fixed because it's not going to be a high priority to them. So that's why, for me, this is a 2. This is I can't recommend anybody to buy this ship for its performance, for what it does. This to me is more of, do you want an LTI Aurora that's got all of the, all of the cool things about the Aurora with the larger cargo grid and everything else? Just to have in your fleet as, something cool to say, yes, I was there and able to get a hold of this thing. The only other thing that I can think of a reason that you might own this ship ahead of another ship is the size. And that's because we are soon coming up on CIG, starting to implement the ability to have carrier gameplay. Basically to have, refueling and repairing and rearming and all those things available if you're landing on a carrier. This is one of the smallest ships in the game. It might be the smallest ship in the game with a quantum drive. It's obviously bigger than some of the snub ships, but this is one of the smallest ships in the game, which means any kind of large cargo ship, ironclads coming down the pike, you're going to be able to put one of these in it. And that might be attractive to some people. That's really it. That's really all I can think of. That's why, I give it a 2. Is it cool? Will I own one? Yeah, I'll own one. That's just because, I have a fleet. But otherwise, I couldn't recommend people going out of their way to pick it up. My recommendation would be, if you're going to spend $60, go buy a Titan. That's going to get you a lot farther in the game. All right. Hope everybody enjoyed the review. Please do all the things. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Help the YouTube algorithm overlords. If you are new to Star Citizen, I will leave my referral code below. If you get a chance, please use it. Or if not my referral code, you've got a friend, use their referral code. Using the referral code gets you more in-game money when you start, and when you're starting Star Citizen, that could be a big deal. So again, hope everybody enjoyed the review. If you've got any suggestions on things you'd like to see reviewed in the future, please let me know. And otherwise, have a great day in the verse.